Love that song by Snoop Dogg. Love that. Hey, everybody. Thank you for being here for Deborah Kobylt Live. And we are playing that song by Snoop because he is in the film that has been produced by my guest. And you wrote this film, didn't you?
I wrote it, yes.
Unbelievable. Angelique Fawcette and her husband, Steven. Thank you both for being here. Thank you both so much.
Thanks for having us.
This is kind of neat. When I read about Unbelievable and the entire... Why are you two laughing? You're like...
Because we always do this.
I love crowds.
Well, wait.
And I love Snoop.
Wait a minute.
You know?
But
There's a lot of people in this room.
With that applause, right? With that applause, I mean, there's hundreds of people in the studio audience, right?
That's
They're all big fans of yours and everything else.
There they are. There they are again.
Thank you, Kurt. Kurt controls the crowd control here. So we're all... What a great way to start our show. Tell me about Unbelievable and how you even got into doing Unbelievable. By the way, do we have Steve on the on camera as well? We do not.
Why don't
okay.
you scoot on over here,
You might have to scoot on over.
Scoot.
There you go.
There he is. See?
I thought we had a three-shot going on.
There we go.
Can we make it a little wider so we can... There we go. There we go.
Kind of.
Perfect. Of course, I look like this big thing just sort of looming over the interview, but that's okay. Tell me about Unbelievable. I know you wrote this back in 1977. For anybody out there in Hollywood who's saying, you know what, it can take a long time, and if you just stick with something because you believe in it, eventually it's going to work, right?
So
You're going to get it there. 1977, you wrote this. It's 2018, and finally, we're going to be seeing Unbelievable. Tell me a little bit about it, and what is it about?
Go ahead.
Well, it's like Airplane, Mars Attacks. It's about 4 astronauts that go to the moon and looking for 2 lost comrades up there on a lunar base. They come back, and they find out that the entire world has turned into exotic plant life. And
that would be nice. Some days I would love the world to turn into exotic plant life, really.
And so Snoop is the endearing lead bad guy. He is the leader of the plant kingdom, and he is taking
marijuana.
Over yes, absolutely.
On all kinds of plants.
Yes.
House plants, marijuana, palm trees, all kinds of plants.
Yeah.
How did you get Snoop on this venture? Because that's big. You get Snoop involved, and that's a big deal.
It was, I'd say, a willingness on his part to do it. You know, when we finally met him, you know, he told us in his office, first of all, Snoop Dogg is a Trekkie. A lot of people don't know that, but when we went into his compound, his office is the shape of the Star Trek Enterprise with a captain's chair, and there's levers.
And why is that important? Because you have at least 40 former Trekkie...
42
Trekkie actors?
42 former Star Trek stars, and we have the last living composer of original Star Trek, Gerald Fried. So
we're going to have to get into that story later, because how you even got him to compose for this film is also nothing short of a miracle. The fact that you drove all the way out to New Mexico to get this guy. How do you say no to that?
Yeah.
When you're banging on his door and it's like, excuse me, we just drove in from Los Angeles. Like, okay. How do you say no to that? Right?
Well, he said yes, and so did Snoop. But it was a lot of belief. I mean, you really have to believe in yourself. You can't listen to the naysayers. And trust me, there were plenty of people who told me, oh, there's no way Snoop's ever going to work for you. Like, look me up and down and say, oh, no way. You know, but
so how'd you get him? What did you do?
We went all the way to Atlanta. We were showing our film at Dragon Con, and we were talking to some rappers there who knew him, but that didn't really, it wasn't the full, you know, situation. So basically we got back here, and, you know, there were some other people that were in the mix, but the person I really wanted was Snoop Dogg. I'm from California. I was born in Santa Monica. I grew up in Inglewood and West LA, and Snoop is the one for me, you know.
Where did he grow up?
LBC. Long Beach. Yeah, Long Beach, Compton, all that.
Neighbors.
I imagine. Yeah. So that's where, you know, his music was out here. So basically, you know, we just realized that we're producers and we can find him too. And we did, and went through his manager, and we hired him.
And what did you do? Everyone tries to go through Snoop's manager. I mean, I'm trying to give a little inspiration for those people out there who are like, no way. Well, it's like, yeah, way. Look what they just did.
You have to be persistent. You know, I'm a woman, and I'm also a black woman, and I don't think that it like gives me any extra edge it's still challenging as a woman to break into the rap world as it's of itself. So, you just have to
edge. I think it gives you less of an edge.
You just have to be persistent. You just have to be persistent. You just have to keep on calling, keep on calling. We went through the manager. I make it sound easy, but it took time because Snoop Dogg is a busy guy. He's got a lot of people pulling for him. I want, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? I was just persistent. Persistence is everything. Belief is everything. You just don't ever give up. Consistently, I'm going to get that person. And if you believe it, you're going to get that person. And that's what happened.
I interview so many people, and that's always the common thread, no matter what they do, no matter how they do it and how they got there. Persistence. You got to have a little grit.
A lot of grit.
A lot of grit.
Even because they don't play.
No, it's true. And like, I'm a kind of a sensitive person, so I'll get knocked back a little bit, but then I'm like, I don't think so. So I'll come back. You got to keep going back. It's a tough business, and you got to believe in what you're doing. Clearly you did. How did you get 42 previous Star Trek people on this as well?
That was a lot of work too, right, Steve? It was a lot of work.
The Star Trek actors, they go to conventions all over the world.
That's the place to get these
and
guys,
so
right?
we went to the conventions and we met them when we said we're doing this, and we met them for lunch, and then they said, this sounds like a cool project, and then they all know each other. So
they passed it.
So it basically started feeding upon itself. And toward the end, I had people calling me, "Can I get into this thing?"
Yes.
And
wow.
And I kept writing scenes, and I said, I can't keep doing this. I could have probably had 50.
Yes.
But, it was...
Well, there's always a part 2.
Yeah.
Unbelievable again. Part 2. And then you'll put me in it, too. So
well, we already said that the sequel will be called Inconceivable.
How did it was so unbelievable making this.
Unbelievable, inconceivable, and we did what? That'll be part 3.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about you. You grew up here in various towns in and around Southern California, right?
Right.
And something people might not know about you.
Oh, some people know I'm an avid meditator. That's something that, guides my life. It's something that I have to, do every day in order to, keep it together.
Survive in this crazy place.
Yeah, the entertainment industry, as anyone would know, I mean, especially you see Me Too and all that. I mean, it's not an easy industry to be in. You tend to wonder, okay, why did I do this again? Okay, because I enjoy art. I like acting. I like producing. I enjoy it. And the people are really nice. We were very fortunate with the actors that we had. I can't say any of them were really divas. Everyone, did their work and they came and had a good time. And that's part of the reason why people came back to us too, is because we made a point to brand our company, and we wanted people to have a different kind of experience on set. We mixed the crew and the actors together. We fed them healthy food. They had nice rooms. We took care of them, and I think they knew that we actually did care. It's different from just, you're just here to work. No, give them a beautiful day. Show them something good. And then, that word, got around, I think.
It gets around on how you run your set.
Yeah.
It really, really does.
Yeah.
You do a lot for homeless people. Would you tell us a little bit about your experience? A short time, but when you were growing up at one point, you found yourself homeless, right? Living in a car with your mom?
Yeah. Yeah. So when I was 11, my family had broken up. My father had left the family. Both of my parents are deceased. And we went to live with my maternal grandmother. And she decided after 6 months, and I had just gotten into junior high school, and she decided to kick us out. Ooh. So, she kicked us out on the street, and I lived in the car with my mother in Marina Del Rey. I mean, I say, the different places I've grown up, but Marina Del Rey, there's a little water area that I kind of consider home when I need to go back and reflect on life, reflect on where I have been and where I am now. I go there sometimes because that's where my mother and I lived. A hard experience, but it's an experience that, has changed my life for the better. It's given me perspective about homeless. It's given me perspective about life.
That 1 month time must have been such a scary time for you, because you must have been thinking, how are we going to get out of this? But it sounded to me that your mom was really looking for a plan, and she protected you all that time.
She did, but it wasn't, I know this might sound strange to you, but it wasn't scary. When you're put in a situation like that and you're that young, you go into defense mode. You're like, I mean, at least for me, I went into defense mode and like, okay, I'm basically growing up. This is right now. I'm no longer a kid. When you're 11 and you're on the street, it's cold, you don't have any food. We were eating Snickers bars, that my mother had, and half, she had a half, I had a half, and we had no money. The police were coming to our window every night just to,
like,
see,
who are these people?
Who are these people? Are they going to break into someone's house? What's the real situation? And they kind of figured out that we were there and we're homeless. And you go into defense mode, you realize I have to be strong right now, and it was really, after some time, I actually found a dime. I think it was a dime or something underneath a chair, and I called my uncle, and my uncle is the one who got us off the street.
Wow.
And that's how we ended up in Inglewood. Tough stuff, but you know what? I'm not the only one that goes through it. There's so many people, around this town who sleep in their cars right now or sleep on the street right now. So it's not like I'm the only one. It's just that, I know with my life what I'm now starting to do with it,
Tell us a little bit about that, because I think that's so important. I mean, you've worked yourself up to the point where you are producing an important film, a fun film, but with some important people who are well known. But how do you use, who you are now to help other people, women, women of color, homeless people?
Yeah. Well, the name of my company is called Corner of the World, and it's something that I'm just putting into place. I mean, I've always helped the homeless. Simple things that people can do is just go out, make sandwiches and go out into the alleys in their neighborhood and just deliver lunches, little things like that. Have blankets in your car to deliver to people. There's simple things you can do.
Do you know the folks Lunch on the Go? I mean, that started.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
I've heard of them, but
She's incredible. She was on my show.
Oh, okay.
And she simply started by bringing lunch down to Skid Row, and it's grown to the point where, literally out of her car, she'd open her car window and there would be lunches that she and her friends would do. And now it's to the point where only 2 years later, she's got BuzzFeed and all sorts of companies.
Excellent.
Cheesecake Factory have hired some of the people off the streets. I mean, she has done so much. There's so much you can do when you've had something happen to you and you fight hard and now you're helping somebody else. Right. So I admire you for that.
Well, thank you.
I really do.
Thank you.
And women, too. You were saying that we need more women out there, women as filmmakers, women of color as filmmakers.
Yeah, and they're out there. It's just that,
but to get the opportunity,
they're not acknowledged. They don't get the opportunities, just as you're saying. Even I'm a black female filmmaker. I still had to bust down doors, to get certain things done. I mean, it may seem easy, but
I don't think
not.
so.
It's not. It's not.
I don't think so. I don't think it's ever easy, and I don't think it's ever going to be easy. You still have to bust down a door.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard what Spike Lee was talking about with his latest film. He said, I had a tough time getting this made. I mean, all the way up. It's hard. You always have to keep fighting.
Yeah, so true.
So tell me a little bit about making this movie, about making Unbelievable. Where did you shoot it? And
everywhere.
Was it fun?
Yes, it was very fun.
The shoot was fun. I mean, the principal photography was fun. The post work became a real slog.
How so?
Well, we just had a lot of elements, a lot of special effects that we didn't really even anticipate when we were shooting it.
And that's expensive to do.
Yes,
right?
it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but we, and then we had to go to like 2 or 3 different post houses because some of them just didn't quite understand what we wanted, the look of it, the color. We were trying to get this bright Technicolor look, kind of like what Star Trek used to look like back in the 60s. And they didn't get it because they were giving us that very natural,
the polished sort of
color look. And I said, no, in your face, just
think 1970s.
Yeah.
Yes.
Think back. They weren't even born then, half these people that are probably working on
and they
it.
didn't, they didn't
I
get it. I actually had to show them examples of what I was talking about before they got it.
And they still didn't get it.
Do we have any clips? You sent us some clips. What do we have?
Oh, I don't know if I sent
Do
you
we
any
have?
clips.
We have some.
But
we have
the trailer on YouTube. It's official.
Do we have that we
Unbelievable
can
movie.
show?
Yes, we do.
Hang on, we're getting to it.
In a world where the world is searching the world for someone to save the world, there is only one in the whole world that has this world on a string.
Okay, Charlie, I'm in. What now?
Soon I will take over their planet with my army of plants.
They are the first wave of a massive invasion force headed for this planet at this very moment.
This is a national emergency.
Mr. President, I've got to ask on the phone.
Well, then spray something on the damn thing.
Where did all the people go?
Ah! What the hell is happening to us?
I know what'll happen if something goes wrong up there. It'll be the end of the program.
I thought we had 80 more minutes. Oh, that program.
Don't flush till we're over the ocean.
Whoa! 50 years later and he's still pissed. Oh!
Captain Snorts, release the hounds on his cray-cray ass.
That is so funny.
Thank you.
That reminds me a little bit of Spaceball, a little bit of Airplane, a little bit of everything. That's going to be great. So right now, what are you looking for? Distribution?
We are talking with several studios about it.
That's hysterical. I mean, the feel, you got the feel right, that's for sure. You really got that right, Steven.
It's we see we have 30 million Star Trek fans out there. There's Team America World Police fans who have been looking for a sequel, and this is the Kyoto brothers that did the puppet, and of course Snoop's fans and marijuana smokers, and who knows how many millions are out there.
And we have a mini horse in there that he didn't tell you about.
A mini what?
A mini horse. That's Snoop Dogg's sidekick. His name is Captain Buttock Snorts. and this is some trivia that no one really knows, is that Steve, the director, actually voices the horse.
You do? Can you do some horse?
No.
For me?
Do some horse.
Oh,
do
come
some
on!
Horse. Come
You
on.
can't come in here and not do that crazy ass horse, whatever his name is.
No,
do the horse.
No, you just I
Can't put you on the spot.
I can't do it.
He's not usually an actor, but he did it. We did
was,
it out of
was
necessity.
one of those things
you know?
where, yes, you've gone through the $3.5 million.
Yes.
And we can't afford to hire another named talent.
So the director
get
does
the
it.
director to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. That's hysterical.
Yeah.
Oh, that
So
is
he's a little Mr. Ed talking horse, you know. You know.
such a homespun project, I swear. But I have to tell you, I mean, from having written this in 1977, many years later, talk about never giving up. This thing's going to be a hit. It's going to be well worth all the time spent. I'm telling you. I believe in it. How did you two meet, real quick?
We met on a casting session. She was reading sides for about 100 women coming through for a role, and we were sitting side by side, and I kept saying, are you getting paid for this? And she said, no, I'm doing this as a
I was
favor.
doing it as a favor for my talent manager at the time, so...
I met her.
Did you ask for her number right then and there?
No,
not until later.
I met her about a week later. I gave her some cash for what she had done, and we sat for like 3 hours, talked, and the rest was history.
And 2 years later, you got married.
About a year and a half. Yeah.
I know your whole history. When you met, the year you got married, I know it all.
Did you know that Nichelle Nichols gave her away to me at our wedding?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Could you briefly tell me about her story?
Well, her giving me away, or what she's going through now?
What she's going through now.
Well,
for people who don't know, why don't you tell us who she is?
Well, she's become a victim of elder abuse, and it's not a very good situation for her.
But you're in there, and you're trying to help, along with Casey Kasem, his daughter,
Carrie Kasem.
Carrie, who is a friend, who is lovely in everything she gets involved with. She really, really helps people.
Yes,
and
she
Kasem
really
cares.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that you're getting involved to help her.
Yeah, I have gotten involved legally with the help of Kasem Cares, Carrie Kasem, Kathy Braun, and Julie Belshi. They directed me to the right lawyer that could help me stand up for her. About 5 years ago, Nichelle had me make a videotape of her stating what she wants in her final years. And I always kept it. At the time, she said, you'll know when the right time is to share it. And honestly, I was hoping that I never had to share it. Because she had to make it, it's because she was placed in a rest home. And that's what the impetus was, is that she never wanted to be placed in a rest home again. And so you kind of hope that you never would have to go through that with them. You'd hope that people would leave the person alone, let them stay in their home, let them have their dignity, let them live out their life where they've chosen to live. But she's unfortunately had a manager who's accused of allegedly misappropriating hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then she has some other situations with relatives and, the desire to put her in a rest home. So
this is a very common story with so many people. And if you're going through anything like this, call Kasem Cares, right? Because they can help you.
They are angels.
And the fact that they are angels, and so are you, and so is Carrie for doing this. So I don't want to take up too much time talking about it, but I will say the fact that you've gotten yourself involved is wonderful, and I really do hope for a resolve for this, because this is painful, and so many people are going through this sort of thing in their families.
Yeah,
they
not
really
just
are.
celebrities. This can happen to anybody.
Well, that's why Carrie got involved. She's like, look, it's not just me. It's the guy next door and the girl next door, too.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. It can happen to all of us. If we don't prepare, we could end up in like that. Our kids could end up like that. And our kids' kids could end up,
Or your kids could put you somewhere where you don't want to be.
Yes, exactly. And and a conservatorship.
I worry about that.
Yeah.
With my luck, my kids will throw me somewhere I don't want to be. And I'm like, listen, I got it all planned out. So I'm just letting you know. No, I'm just kidding. But no, you do have to be mindful. My parents, I took care of my mom, my dad, and my two in-laws until the day they all passed, only within the past couple of years. It was very difficult. They did not have a directive, and I had to just do whatever. They ended up all in my home. So that was hard, but I knew they wouldn't want it any other way. So,
right.
You have to do what you have to do. But, it is, but it was also hard on us. It was really hard. So have a directive so that your loved ones don't have to go through all that either.
Exactly.
Tell me something about you that people don't know. Maybe you have something tattooed on your back. We were talking about this.
I'm like, what if I don't know what people don't know?
Because
I'm
we were
just
talking
a producer
about,
and I just do my stuff.
Well, we were talking about the museum, right?
Yes.
That I was on my way to the Getty Museum to see the Egypt exhibit. And you said, "Oh my God, I love that." And we were talking about going
King Tut and everything,
King Tut and all that. And you said,
"I have a Nefertiti tattoo on my back." Which a lot of people don't know because I cover it up. I have to, I come from corporate America, so I'm used to I have to dress a certain way and make sure things aren't seen. So it's a Nefertiti. It's just I feel very, I feel
empowered.
an affinity. I feel an affinity towards Egypt, Africa, obviously.
I told you I do too, ever since I was a kid. So I'm obsessed. I've gone there, and I've studied a little bit there. And you actually got some hieroglyphics. What did you do after we talked about that?
After we talked, I was going to
sent
text
it to Kurt. Here it is. What is that?
Well, you can type in your name and see what your name looks like in hieroglyphs. Like you can type in Deborah and you'll see your name.
Is that mine? Deborah is the top line?
The top one's Deborah, yeah.
That's your name?
What's the second line?
That's her name.
That's my name.
Wow. So
isn't that neat?
What does that mean? Like, what am I?
It means it's your name. It's just your name converted into hieroglyphs. And then for each little tab, it does say certain things like,
amazing,
water, or,
incredible.
Like I can't see them from here, but those little things.
That is interesting. Really, really beautiful. Thank you for doing that.
Thanks, Kurt.
Thank you so much for doing that. So up next for you and both of you is what? Getting distribution for this. You're hopeful that this gets out in theaters when?
Well, we're hopeful it's 2018, but we'll see. We're in talks right now, so it's not that we can talk about the talks, but
you've got Snoop behind you. You've got a whole army of people. This is a great, just by looking at the trailer, it's funny as heck.
Yeah.
I mean, it just brought back a lot of memories of shows that I've watched, films that I've seen. It's just funny.
Yeah, and we hope people enjoy it. We had a good time making it. Our actors were good people, and they had a good time making it, so we just hope to get it out there to the Star Trek fans, because we're Star Trek fans too.
And we'll make sure we get it out to the Star Trek fans. It's important. Yeah. Every word, every bit we get out there on the internet, it really, really matters. Yeah. And what is Snoop saying about it?
Oh, well, Snoop called it this generation's next up in smoke. So
I love him.
But he's great.
Shout out to you, Snoop.
He was so wonderful to work with too. He's so wonderful to work with. He's so professional.
That's
and
exactly
happy,
right.
And it was a perfect match. I mean, he's a Star Trek fan and he loves plants. Marijuana plants.
Certain kind of plants.
You know? And it just works out, you know?
Oh, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciated
us.
having you. You guys are both delightful. Your story is delightful. You're adorable together. You look like newlyweds. You've only been married, 5 years?
No, 50 years. 50 years.
Wait a minute.
No, it's fine.
Before I let you go, though, real quickly, what else are you all working on?
You should tell him about he's a novelist, so I'm going to let him.
Yeah, back in 2006, I wrote a novel called The Archangels of Dreamland, and it won the award for Best Action Adventure Novel of the Year. And so we'll be doing that soon.
Archangels of Dreamland.
Yeah.
In fact, your film company, Archangels Films.
Archangel Films, yeah.
Archangel Films.
So, yeah, but it's... at the time that Warner Brothers had looked at it and wanted to buy it, and but they wanted me to leave and not have anything to do with it, and I said no.
And you said no.
No.
How do you make sure that no one takes your stuff when that's the case, and you present it to a large company? That's tough.
Yeah, it's tough, but you have to register it with the Guild and the Writers Guild.
Can you register an idea, or does it have to be in perfect script form?
No, you can register ideas, treatments, synopses. And of course scripts, and then you can also send it to the Washington D.C. for the Copyright Office.
So for people who know, there's a lot of people out there wondering, how do you do it? You know, and that's how you just register your stuff and then just get it out there and get it out to be seen.
And once it's in novel form, it's in a book form, it's rather difficult for them to just take the story once it's already out there in the public. So,
but sometimes they still try. You just have to make sure that you're protected.
Yeah.
What's your big dream to do together?
Just to go on vacation. That would be
nice.
And where would you go?
We haven't been on vacation in
anywhere
5 years.
Where would you go?
Anywhere away
just
from
to the beach.
We never got a chance to do a honeymoon. So
no,
it was
not
like
really.
Oh, come on, Snoop.
Really.
Let's get this film out there so these two can go on a honeymoon, right?
We'll go to Bora Bora and we'll stay there for like 5 years.
Yeah. Bring her dog.
Write your next film there.
Yeah, bring her little dog.
Well, you've been delightful. Thank you both for being here. I've enjoyed having you both. You're adorable, the two of you together. I'm glad that Steven decided to join us for the interview. That was a last-minute decision. And his lovely wife here is saying, no, come on in too.
I had to fight the crowd coming in,
It was a large crowd we had.
Here.
To be honest with you,
you
guys have a...
Wow, I mean, are we going to be able to get out of here?
No, we got a lot of fans. They want your autographs. I'm just letting you know.
Well, they were chanting your name outside, so I don't know.
No, they were chanting your name. They were chanting Snoop's name. You know what I mean? We put a little sign out there saying he was going to be here at Sunset Gower Studio.
Let's hear it from the crowd here. There they are.
Thank you so much, everyone. It always gives me a charge when I hear that, because nobody's applauding for me at home. So I have to come here.
We're applauding for
Are you really? Okay,
yes,
I have to come here and get the
nice of you
applause.
to have us here.
Thank you. Anyway, thanks for being here for Deborah Kobylt Live. Now, before we go, can we play their trailer on the way out?
Yeah, the Unbelievable one?
Yeah, it's so funny. Anyway, thank you, everybody. And soon to be in theaters, Unbelievable, Angelique Fawcette and Steven Fawcette. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You're wonderful. Thanks.
Go!